The Washington Monument, the 555-foot obelisk in Washington, D.C., has naturally drawn conspiracy theories ever since it was built. Because of its unusual form, Masonic ties, and symbolic placement, it has been wrapped in speculation well beyond its official history. Here are some of the most talked about conspiracy theories surrounding it. 1. Freemason symbolism. The Washington Monument was officially dedicated to the memory of George Washington, the first U.S. president who died in 1799. Construction began in 1848, and the cornerstone was laid during a ceremony conducted by the Freemasons, of which George Washington himself was a member. He attained the highest rank of Master Mason. Over the years, various Masonic and occult groups have adopted the Washington Monument as a symbol because of its resemblance to ancient Egyptian obelisks. In fact, the Washington Monument was modeled after an obelisk in the Piazza del Popolo in Rome, which itself was taken from an ancient Egyptian source. The new obelisk would pay homage to Washington, but also act as a symbol of American exceptionalism and power. To some, the 555 feet high and 55 feet wide dimensions reflect sacred numerology important to Freemasonry and occult traditions. The number 555 feet is 6,666 inches that has been associated with the New World Order, while the obelisk shape is seen as a phallus, symbolizing male generative power. According to author and researcher Brad Steiger, both the Washington Monument and the Great Pyramid of Giza were deliberately constructed to resemble giant phalluses. This phallic symbolism is used to connect the monument to fertility cults and ancient mysteries. Some conspiracists even say the Washington Monument represents the phallus of the Egyptian god Osiris. Ancient Egyptians believed that obelisks could capture the sun's energy. Was the Washington Monument designed as an energy conductor? Author David H. Kelly suggests that Washington, D.C. may be situated on a kind of planetary power grid consisting of ley lines and other telluric currents. The Washington Monument, he argues, was meant to act like a huge power antenna to harness natural energies. It is speculated that Washington, D.C. was purposely planned to align with vortex points or areas of high electromagnetic energy. The Washington Monument, along with the Great Pyramid of Giza, may have been intentionally aligned with star systems, solstices, or other astronomical events. It is possible that Washington, D.C. was founded on a naturally magnetic site, though any link to secret societies or hidden agendas is purely speculative. The Washington Monument obelisk is juxtaposed against the U.S. Capitol dome just over a mile away. Together, they form a kind of triangle, with the Washington Monument representing the male principle or phallus and the dome symbolizing the female womb or vagina. This reflects a more ancient tradition of aligning male and female principles found in cultures around the world. The two monuments together are said to represent the goddess Isis and her consort, Osiris. Some conspiracists take this a step further and say the monuments form a sacred union, meant to represent the rebirth of an empire or the coming of a new world order. The Washington Monument is exactly 555 feet tall, not including the 15-foot pyramidion or capstone. If you add the digits, 555 equals 15. And if you add those digits, 1 plus 5 equals 6. And 666 is the number of the beast. Inside the monument are 193 commemorative stones donated by various states, groups, and even other nations. The layout of these stones is said to contain hidden or coded Masonic inscriptions known only to a select few. The monument's rare and valuable aluminum capstone is claimed to act as a kind of all-seeing eye or conductor. Writers for New World Order Watch, a website devoted to exposing globalist conspiracies, point out that the Washington Monument is linked to both the Vatican and Rome through a series of obelisks. They note that St. Peter's Square in Vatican City also has an Egyptian obelisk at its center. The obelisks in London, Paris, and Washington, D.C. form a triangle of power centers controlling religion, finance, and military might. Washington, D.C. equals military, London equals finance, Vatican equals religion. The obelisk symbolized this unholy trinity of global influence. A box was placed in the cornerstone of the Washington Monument when it was first built. In 1848, it contained newspapers, coins, and a portrait of George Washington. Some believe more esoteric or occult items were secretly placed inside as part of a hidden Masonic time capsule that will only be revealed at some point in the future. The delay in construction of the Washington Monument from 1854 to 1877 is sometimes said to mark a secret ritual or a shift in power. The Washington Monument aligns along the National Mall's axis, forming geometric layouts with the Capitol, the White House, and the Lincoln Memorial. Some theorists argue that these buildings were deliberately placed in astrological alignment similar to the pyramids at Giza. This would mean that Washington, D.C. was intentionally planned as a kind of astronomical clock or calendar. The monuments were meant to invoke the power of the stars or planets and coincide with solstice or equinoxes. In reality, the Washington Monument was simply designed as a tribute to George Washington. Its stark form was inspired by ancient Egypt and classical Rome, not the occult or secret societies. However, this hasn't stopped various authors and researchers from speculating that the nation's capital was purposely built on a site of latent power. Did the architects and planners of Washington, D.C. know something that we don't? Did they intend to harness the city's spiritual energy or align it with the stars? Or are these ideas nothing but fanciful theories? You decide. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see more.